John, we're going to be looking at today wiring. We've got a 420 high crop that we're just finishing up on. Last thing we do on them is put the wiring harnesses. So I'm going to walk through and just sort of show you. We make our own wire harnesses here at the shop. We've wired our generator up already. We've got our distributor hooked up to our coil. And our coil wires, and they all run back through the wire harness. We leave our light wires loose and we just sort of roll them up on our light brackets, so when we do the hood and grill, they'll be ready to be hooked up. Moving back, we've got our starter wire coming out. We've already hooked it up. We use number 2 gauge wire on all of our 6-volt wire systems. Real important on starting. If you use anything any bigger, the starters are going to drag and you're going to have problems starting. So always using number 2. And the other thing we do is we use an 8-volt battery versus a 6, and you can still use it with your 6-volt lights and 6-volt generator system. So anyhow, that's the wiring side for this right side, and I'm going to go around the tractor Larry to the other side, and we're going to show you what we've wired up on the switch side and the regulator. Okay. I've already put some of the wires in here. This video would be really long. What we've got is we've got our switch, which we ran our wires in. I do label all the wires going to the switch. We've got our switches for our ignition, the battery, the lights. I go ahead and I hook all of these up first. The regulator, the voltage regulator I've got here, which I'm going to go ahead and hook it up. We use the Phillips screws in these because they're really hard to get to, and we've already wired the voltage regulator. So let's mount this voltage regulator in here so we can show you what we've got wired up here. I do leave a cloth down here in case we drop any screws in here. Let me get another screw on this side here. And we have wired all the wires to the voltage regulator is wired already. And we keep all our wires marked, so when we're installing them, we don't have to guess or go look at the books. And the little blue tape we use is so you can tear it off easy. But we write down where the wires go on the voltage regulator and the switch. And what we're going to do is once we get this done here, we're going to leave the 2 wires off that go to the amp meter. And we're going to show a separate video on installing the dash. And when we install the dash, we'll put the amp meter on there. The 2 wires go to the amp meter. Make sure also when you're putting the dash together and your voltage regulator and installing that you go through and tap all your holes. If you don't, when you go to put them on, you're going to wind up scratching a lot of paint trying to get the screws in, and most times they're not going to go in. So they go in really easy if you go ahead and tap them. So I would recommend doing that before you start installing. Okay, so we've got our red positive wire coming here, which is going to go to our positive side of the amp meter. And once again, we got them all marked, so you can see. And this blue tape will tear off once we're done, so make it look professional. And then we've got our other side, which is going to go to the minus side of the amp meter. This particular tractor has a tack, so we'll be hooking up the tack when we do it and installing our switch. But once you do all this, the wiring is pretty much done. There is a wire, Larry, if you come back here on this side, I don't know if you can see it, but we run one wire down through the back. It's got the 2 wires for the back light. I go ahead and run it out and get it to the back here and leave it sort of long on the back here so we can wire the lights up, and that'll be done when we install the lights also. So that's going to end the video on the wiring and leaving it ready for the dash to be installed, and we'll do a separate video on the dash.